Hello, and a warm welcome to another conversation about change, about life and decisions, and how sometimes it throws you off and sometimes you're in charge or you think you're in charge, but not always. My guest, Aimee Barrett Theron, South African rugby ref, lots of firsts in that very male-dominated field.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you're the first one to be included on SA Rugby's Premier panel.
Yes, yeah, it was a huge opportunity from SA Rugby and a really big step forward for them. There's only a handful of female professional referees in the world, so being given that opportunity has been incredible so far.
Yeah. You grew up in Durban, and as a schoolgirl, could you ever see this happening? I mean, what were your dreams?
So as a youngster, I always loved sport, I always wanted to go as far as possible, but your typical career is, there's a very small percentage of people that make it to the top, and I think growing up, we didn't have the money for the extra academies, we didn't have the money for, extra coaching and things like that, and it was just keep working hard at your school sport and see where you go.
What sport did you play?
A good bit of everything, actually. Hockey, touch rugby, softball, tennis, athletics, really as much as I could. Sport is my happy place. So I enjoyed school, but it was even better just being on the sports field with my team, and I am a pretty shy person, so when I got to the opportunity to play with my teammates, that was my time to come out of my shell and enjoy my time. So it was great growing up in sport, but there was a specific moment when I was about 12, it was the Sydney Olympics, and we were in the lounge. I said to my Mum, I'm going to be at the Olympics. And she, as all mums would do, it's a massive dream, but she was behind me from the start, and
she didn't shut you down. She didn't say, "Don't be ridiculous."
Yeah, and that's I'll forever be grateful for that, because I ended up there, and for that, a 12-year-old, and your average school, your average living your average life, and ending in one of the top tournaments in the world. So
yes. Absolutely. And then you got a rugby bursary to go to Stellenbosch. That must have been quite exceptional for a girl.
Yeah, a really big moment, and I'm grateful to Stellenbosch.
How did that happen? Did you apply? How did it happen?
Yeah, so when I left school, I started to study, but family situation, I had to start working and earn some money, and the rest of my friends were studying and starting to work. So I just started applying. At that time, I was playing rugby. I made it to the SA team, SA 7s, SA 15s, and I thought, well, this is my opportunity. I need to use these opportunities to see what I can do as far as I want to study, as far as studying. And
sorry, I want to take you one step back. Tell me about having to drop out.
Yeah, very difficult
must have
time.
Been very hard.
Yeah. So my dad left the year I left school, and it just put us in a financial situation where we couldn't afford to carry on studying.
How did you handle that? How did you work with the? I talked about decisions and change moments.
It's very much a.
And you were young at 18. It's hard.
Yeah, a speed bump, but some people call it stubbornness, but I call it determination. And I refuse to let other things stop me from what I want to do. So I knew that my goal would maybe be a little bit behind or be a little bit delayed because of
But you didn't give it up?
No. I think I like challenges, and I needed to be involved, so I worked and coached and did as many things as I could to build my CV, that when I could apply to a university, that it was still substantial. So.
And how long did it take?
4 years. Yeah, so by that time, my friends were finishing and they were starting to work, and I was starting first year at 21. So it was different, but at the same time, I have this, a bit more philosophical about it, that everything happens at the right time. And when I think being a little bit older, being in Stellenbosch, I just had the maturity to get down and work hard, and I was balancing playing international rugby and studying, and so it was quite a lot on my plate, and I think maybe fresh out of high school it would have been more difficult, but at that stage I was comfortable. It was tough, it was busy, but I had really good supportive friends, supportive lecturers, and yeah.
Tell me about being selected for the national team.
Incredible, actually. I remember getting the email, and I I had quite a career in touch rugby, and then started playing sevens. As I said, okay, listen, there's some more opportunities with sevens. And literally the year after that, got the email that I was in the SA squad, and I just thought, I'm 18, 19, like, what are you sure? Is that definitely my name on the list? And I remember going to the camps, and I went on my first tour, and I'd only been playing sevens in not even a year, and it was putting on the green and gold jersey. I think growing up as a South African, that is, rugby is one of our cultures, and being able to put that on. I remember putting it on the night before the tournament started, and I just, this goosebump moment, and I still have goosebumps now thinking about it. It was, it's amazing to represent your country and sing your anthem, and it's something you can't describe.
Where did you go? Where was the tour?
Uganda, actually. Yeah, so very, very interesting. Great to explore Africa, to play against all the top nations in Africa. Seven's such a high-speed game, and it's not your top-tier nations that necessarily do well. You have a couple of speedsters, and you play the game well, and in 14 minutes anything can happen. So it was a great experience out there, and a nice welcome into the rugby.
And as a white South African, that must have also crashed through a few boundaries.
Yeah, it was
just inexperience.
Yeah, It was something different, and I think we can be a little bit sheltered, and it was just eye-opening. And I am more a thinker than a sayer, and I did a lot of thinking in these times. And being able to travel the world, and a lot of the tournaments, I often come back. And it's easy to think certain things about South Africa, but every time I come back, I love South Africa more and more because of just we're so diverse, and we actually have a really good life here.
Why did you choose kinesiology when you went to study?
So growing up, being involved in sport, I love the body, love movement, love training the body, trying to get the maximum potential out of the body. And obviously you pick up injuries along the way as well. And the people that fix me, the physios, the biokineticists, I love them because they put me back on the field. And I remember thinking, I want to be that person for someone else, the next generation athletes. So got involved at the university, and running my own practice now has been amazing because every day I go to work and I love what I do, and I close the door at the end of the day, and I'm so grateful that I have what I have, because I'm doing, it's that old school cliche of if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And so I've never worked officially, unofficially,
Yeah, so many young people just start studying something, but you knew exactly what and why. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it was that determination. I picked it young, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't stop for much to get myself there, and it was tough, but it's so worth it.
And where did your playing career take you? What was the high point?
Wow, that's a big question because there's so many different places. I mean, the 2009 World Cup, we played in the semi-finals against Australia. The 2010 World Cup, we were in England. Just huge, I don't want to say tick boxes on my career because it sounds too small,
yes.
Just moments of playing against the top nations in the world, doing the sport that I love. It's been incredible. So definitely the World Cups are the highlights for me. And then it also comes back to the provincial season. In the last couple of years of my playing, we managed to win the provincial league, and just playing with those girls, the camaraderie, week in, week out, you're training together. So national camps, you get together every couple of months, but week in, week out, provincially, you're playing together, and these girls put their bodies on the line for you, and you do the same for them. And I think rugby is unique in that way because of that physical component. That there's just so much feeling towards it, and so much passion, and just lifting that trophy at the end of the season is incredible.
Have you made permanent, long-term, lifelong friends?
Absolutely, and not just in South Africa, all over the world. I know I can travel to most countries and message my friends, and I could stay with them absolutely no problem. And it's just it's deep friendships, and a lot of my social circles here, it's all sport friends because we share that common passion.
Tell me about the decision to go into refereeing.
So it was quite an interesting one. I love a challenge. Year after year, I'm always looking for something new, and people always say I'm a really busy person, and that's just because I want to get better. I want to be a better person. I want to try something new. And so the reffing was a way for me to challenge myself, and also to give back to the game that gave me so much. You know, with rugby, or without rugby, I'm not sure I would have been able to get that university degree. But you know, getting the bursary, traveling the world, where most of my friends haven't even left the country, it was a chance for me to plow back into the game and to help the next generation. I think reffing, it's easily one of the hardest things I've done, and not necessarily the physical side, because obviously with rugby you're training, you're working week in, week out. It was more the mental and the emotional side. And
why?
The game pushes you in such a way. There's so many decisions to be made in a game, and I think that's where I got caught, shouting at the TV, watching on a Saturday. It's actually so much more complicated than what it seems. The law book is very intricate, and there's a fine art to refereeing, and you actually want to learn when not to blow the whistle. Because if you're going to blow every infringement, it's going to be stop-starts like NFL, and the game
there's
takes
no
over.
flow.
Yeah, and the players would get frustrated, and the show is all about you. Where for me, the players are the rock stars, and the game is about them. And if I can get by without being noticed, I'd be happy to do that. So, yeah,
you think you've done your job, basically.
Yeah. So the less said about the referee, the better. And I think, just the emotional side. Obviously, there's judgment when a female referee, and I think when I first got started, it was a lot more tough. But now these days, I've been very, very lucky that people just embrace me, and they most of the time they know who I am. People are starting to get to know that Aimee, the female referee, she's all right, and she's done some internationals, and so it was tough to go through that way, but. It's been a good challenge. I'm a better person.
Can you remember the first time you reffed a male game, a men's game?
So when I started,
must have been. They are all physically bigger than you are.
Yeah,
lots.
So when I first started, because it's mainly men's rugby in South Africa, I started with the boys, the little under 13s, and that was barefoot, and that was fun. That was a run around. I didn't know what I was doing. They didn't know what they were doing. We just had a good time. And then when it got to the more serious stage, a few more of the serious club games and things like that, the hardest part was arriving at the field and walking around the field to the change room, and just seeing everyone realize that it's a female referee. And you can greet coaches, and they have this
double take.
Referee, okay. And everyone was polite, respectful, and I was allowed to get on and do my own job. But of course, they're curious, and I knew that was coming, and I tried to prepare myself to think, listen, it's going to be different. Of course, they're going to be curious about it. Don't let that affect you when you run onto the field. You know rugby. You've been playing internationally for however long. You've been to the top tournaments. I'd watched an incredible amount of rugby as well. I know the game. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, and there's certainly no perfect performance, but I'm comfortable when I'm in the four lines. I tried not to let the outside factors really affect me.
And as you say, things have shifted. There's women are much more accepted into what used to be a completely male world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I must credit Western Province Rugby and SA Rugby with that, because the gents have embraced me. And it's wonderful. I mean, being on the premier panel with guys like Jaco Paper, Marius van der Wessels, and Rasta Rasivenga, and just to name a few. I can give them a call any day of the week and just be like, hey, can you have a look at my scrums or something like that? And they just treat you like an equal. And it's been great. And just to get the support and to be fully contracted, it's a first for South Africa, and was a huge deal. But
you first have to find that strength in yourself, what you've described, saying to yourself, I know I can do this. I know I do have the background. You first have to find your backbone, kind of thing. Hmm?
Yes, and it took a good bit of time. Yeah. I think with reffing the early couple of years, I realized how difficult it was, and you get judged on every decision you make. And especially in the beginning, you probably make more bad ones than good ones. And it was important for me to stand up and embrace that I'm going to make mistakes. And one of the lessons I've learned from refereeing is that sometimes mistakes are the best way to learn. And I've taken that to other aspects of my life, because it just takes so much pressure off you. Yes. And there's so much learning in life, rather than knocking yourself down week after week. It's lessons going forward. So
yeah, the baby learns to walk because he falls.
There we go. Yeah.
Did you feel also that you have to be this role model now, and you kind of carry the whole female race?
So there's two sides to that, and I definitely think that's one of my first things is to be a referee, not a female referee, yes. Not anything else. Just be a referee and be a servant to the game. And again, let the rock stars be the rock stars, and I can get in, do my job, get out, and go home happy. But then the other side to it is very important in South Africa for me to tell my story and to keep breaking those barriers for the next generation. And rugby, female rugby, women's rugby is one of the fastest growing sports, so it's important for people to see that there is opportunity. I mean, I'm contracted, and there's opportunity to travel the world, and so other women getting involved, not necessarily in rugby, it can be any sport, to let them know that it is possible. And it could be in the business world. I've done some talks in some businesses just to say it is, it can be male dominated, and you can be mentally prepared for that. Don't be upset. It is. That's how it's been. But now it's our turn to step up and make changes. So just going in with that mindset, not aggressive, not anything else, but just, hey guys, I'm here. I do plenty of hard work behind the scenes to make sure that I'm performing at that stage, because I don't want to be spoon-fed or given opportunities because I'm a female. But I think overall, if me as a female, if I can make it in rugby in South Africa, then the opportunities are endless for others in other domains. So I do see that, and there's a lot of hard work going into the local societies. I work with some of the local referees that are just starting out, or the women. We do high school refereeing, and they run touch, and they're the ball girls at Newlands, and just to get them involved and give them a taste. And if I can share my national and international knowledge with them and help them, that's one of my goals.
And plans and dreams professionally?
So because it's never really been done before, being a female referee in South Africa, I think opportunities are endless, and I'm looking forward to cementing a position refereeing Currie Cup Premier and refereeing all of the men's competitions in South Africa. This year's been a busy one, refereeing Varsity Cup, Varsity Shield, Super Sport Challenge. I've started with the domestic Currie Cup, the under-21s, and looking forward to just being, cementing that name in one of the best competitions in the world, really. Yes. And then I think internationally, we must keep pushing, and I would love to ref a men's international. And I think the time will come. I think the bigger rugby powers are open to it, and there's really a lot of hard work done on their side to give women opportunities. I think in the internationals, we've got the World Cup 2021. I'd love to feature there and put in some strong performances. If you go on the last World Cup in 2017, the level of play is incredible. When I played 2010, it was only 2 World Cups before that. The level has increased dramatically, and being a part of that is one of my goals.
Tell me about reaching the Olympics. The little girl's dream?
Oh, it was amazing. Interesting.
You were one of the refs on the South African panel. How does it work?
So it's a World Rugby panel, and they select referees, and you can come from any nation, and they pick a team that goes towards the tournaments. And at that stage, I had just started reffing. It was about 2015, and I reffed a local tournament. It was the Olympic qualifiers in South Africa, and because I was one of the few female referees, they brought me in, and they brought 2 World Rugby refs down. And to two role models at that time. And the World Rugby manager was there, and he had a look, and he just said, listen, our squad is set for the Olympics, so keep working hard, and we'll look to bring you in for the next cycle. And then I saw him again in Dubai, so obviously worked during that time. There was an invitational tournament in Dubai, and he saw me again, and he called me over, and he just said, listen, making some changes to the squad, we would love to have you. And my life just stopped, and I just stared at him, and it was, I remember going back to the hotel that night and just breaking down. I don't like to have like soft moments, but I broke down in the hotel because like that was a dream that I'd been living since I was 12. And
who did you phone first?
Phone mum. I phoned, it was fiance at the time, and I didn't really have words. I was just like, he's just told me, like, it's a possibility. Like, if I work hard, they want me in the squad, and I could be there, you know. And so final selections obviously weren't set at that stage, but I was in the mix. So I'd gone from being in for the next cycle to being in the mix, and being given a couple of international series tournaments. I think I was offered to Atlanta and Langford, and I can't remember the other one, but yeah, just some chances to prove myself, and I just knew from that night, I said, I'm making it. Yeah. I'm going to do whatever it takes.
How much time did you have? It was about 9 months or so.
Less than that. So that was December. My first tournament was April, then May, and then the Olympics were later that year, June, July. So,
and what was it like being there?
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I think it was small moments for me. It got really real. Standing in the queue at the airport, and Venus and Serena Williams are standing behind me, and you just have these moments of like, oh my goodness, this is real, you know. And just to see like international superstars at their sport, amazing. And running out from the tunnel with the players, and credit to Brazil and the crowd, because they just made every game special. Whether you're running with the whistle or you're running touch, they just went absolutely mental, and it was just this feeling. It was constant goosebumps, and it was amazing to do it with the team that I went with as well. So as much as we from all the way around the world, they're such good people, and we built some really good friendships to share this tournament together, and it's something I'll never forget.
You say you phoned your fiancée. Where did you meet Zandre, and what made you decide that she might be the one?
So actually, first day I landed in Cape Town. So I got that rugby bursary, and I knew one person that went to study at Stellenbosch. She was a good friend of mine. We grew up playing sport together, and so I gave her a call. I just said, listen, I'm making this big move. Please, can you help me? Please, can you come get me at the airport? Can you show me around town, and just look after me a little bit? And she was good friends with Zandra, and she actually brought her to the airport when I first arrived. So got in the car. She spoke my ears off from the back. She was a student as well. She just told me everything about everything, and I just became really good friends and spent a lot of time together, because she plays provincial netball and loads of other sports as well. So we used to train together. We used to go out to eat together. We lived quite close to each other, so we wanted to spend almost every day together as much as we could. So she quickly became our best friend, and then things slowly started to change in that first year, and I took a big step, and I think who
made the first move?
She did. I would love that to be on camera, because it's a battle between us. But so growing up in Durban, I was quite open about my sexuality, and she had only been dating boys before she met me, so it was quite new. And I think our start was quite difficult, because she comes from a conservative background. We were living in Stellenbosch, so your general impression is very conservative. I actually came to Stellenbosch with the idea of coming to marry my farmer man, and that obviously changed from the first day that I was there. But so things started off like she made the first move, and then,
Uncertain.
and then it took us a while to say, listen, we're serious about this. We want to do this. But yeah, and looking back, it was obviously the best decision we could have made, and it hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. So, and 10 years
Hasn't
later,
been easy personally. I mean, all relationships are difficult, but do you think it was more difficult, maybe?
I think so. I think especially being in Stellenbosch, being with her, being from the background.
It is still not the norm.
Yeah. I think there's no need to beat around the bush. It's not the norm at the moment. For me, it's the norm. And for her now, it is also the norm. It just took a little bit of time. And I think we got to the stage where we both felt comfortable to be open about it. And that's one thing I really liked about the refereeing society. In the local society, I didn't introduce her as my friend. She was, this is my girlfriend, and then it was fiance, and then it was wife. And they loved her from day one. So I'm credit to her and her amazing personality, but I am really grateful that she has been embraced like that. And for us, it's our normal life, and we treat it as normal.
The decision to formalize it, to get married, how did that happen?
So it took a little while. I'm not a fan of commitment, but it was important for me to show her that I am committed to this, and especially because it was different to how she envisioned her life, and maybe different to how her parents thought she was going to end up. It was important for me personally just to commit to her, to say, listen, I'm committed, I'm in this, I love you, let's do life together.
And to make it public.
Yeah. And then from our personal life, I thought it was important for other people to see that it is possible and we are happy. And whatever relationship you are in yourself, you can be who you want to be and you can be happy. And I think it's important for others, especially those younger than us, to see that it's normal. And you don't have to worry about other people judging you. People are going to do what they're going to do. But you do you and I'll do me, and we're happy, you know.
And the physical space, where do you live? Why did you choose it?
So we live in the southern suburbs in Cape Town. Growing up in Durban, I never thought I'd leave. I now always have a special place in my heart for Durban, but when I was studying in Stellenbosch, I ventured out into Cape Town and fell in love with it. It's ironic actually, my dad's family grew up in the area that I live in now. And it's quite nice for me to have family close to home. I think growing up in Durban, it was just my immediate family, and my mum's side of the family come from England. So it was quite an adventure, but it only happened every couple of years to go and see them. So now I have family close by, and I also like a quiet space. I think life can be very hectic, and I need some switch off time, very family orientated. Yeah. And
what's your home like? What sold it to you? Is it light? Is it big windows? Is it trees? What do you look for?
I don't think I'm too specific, and it's going to sound really cheesy, but home is more the people.
Yeah.
So the fact that my wife is there and my very fluffy cat, I'm happy. Like, I could have anything. It's not a very big house, but we have everything we need. And I think growing up, you have these dreams, like when I grow up, I'm going to be rich and I'm going to have this massive house with these beautiful cars. And I realized you don't need that. I have everything I need. I have the people in my life that I need, and I have space. It's important for me to have a little bit of quiet space as well. And yeah, we're very happy.
Well, all of the very, very best. And I hope every one of those dreams comes true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time, goodbye.